So we need to talk some serious business. This episode of Dragon Ball Super brought forth a very interesting and deep slash complex discussion that needs to be focused on. Because when a series can really dive into, personal topics and topics that can affect everyone on a global scale, you definitely have to put some importance on it. So this episode of Dragon Ball Super, we got to talk about it. King Kai. King Kai, what he had to go through. I mean, this guy must just be like at his wit's end. Just imagine when Goku shows up next to him, what this man must feel. Just think, try to get into his mind. Never mind everything else. King Kai's mind. You gotta think, there's a possibility that the reason why he tells so many jokes, even more so than when he first started in the series, is because of Goku. Goku has messed that man up greatly, and I think he developed PTSD. Because when Goku showed up, again, bearing potentially an explosive bomb that could take his planet out, you gotta think what King Kai was thinking. This motherfucker Goku, why don't you fucking take him somewhere else, god damn it. Like, this episode of Dragon Ball Super, honestly, not too much to say about it. Like, if you're thinking about watching it and you were checking my review out first, if you mainly just want canon stuff, or canon feeling, because obviously everything that's in the anime is technically canon to the anime, you can pretty much, for the most part, skip this episode. I think one of the biggest things that it does is 17 finally decides to come around and say, hey, okay, you know what? I'll join, which that could have been done at the end of last week's episode. If they just changed one or two lines, it would have been fine. But we had a whole other episode, which I wasn't mad at seeing more 17. I liked 17. I was like, yo, 17 and Goku fucking dicking around and having a little adventure? Sure, why not? But as far as especially where a lot of us are at with wanting the Tournament of Power to kick off already, which there's nothing wrong, because I feel as though people are going to take it like, oh, you're just craving action, you don't like the little subtleties of the story. No, I do enjoy and appreciate some of the subtleties, especially when you get stuff like, Bulma or Krillin's development and stuff like that. That's great when you could get those things out of these type of episodes, that it's just like you got something out of it. This one in particular, the only thing you got out of it really, again, is the fact that 17 decided, oh, you help me with my animals. Okay, I'm gonna, try my best so that I can win this tournament with you guys, which is like, that could have been summed up in a couple minutes. I mean, I guess it was the journey that brought him to that decision that him and Goku had, a little journey, whatever, but I was like, it wasn't the most thrilling episode in a sense, or the most, I want to use the right words. It wasn't the most biggest contribution to the story in any form. And of course, we had to have that mandatory Super Saiyan Blue transformation at least once. We had to have that. And by the way, maybe I'm bugging and maybe it's happened before in the story, but how did Goku use instant transmission into that spaceship? Like, did he lock onto the animals? I was kind of a little puzzled by that. That just kind of threw me off, because again, the episode as a whole, and then when you find out that there really wasn't a threat to begin with, and then you got to use the suspension of disbelief when you're looking at, well, why doesn't Goku or 17, like, they can move at the speed of fucking light. Goku can move past motherfuckers that seemingly slow down time, when he went up against Hit. Like, it would have been nothing for him to quickly go over there, get the remote out of this dude's hand, and punch him in his fucking face. So I'm like, what we daddling around for? It felt as though, honestly, they needed to squeeze in to get more time, and also they wanted to show off a little bit more of Android 17 before the tournament, so we got an episode like this. Because next week's episode, based off that preview, it's gonna be lit, and it's gonna be hype, and I'm excited for it. Even though it's not the beginning of the Tournament of Power yet, it still looks like it could be good, because again, don't mistake the fact that I'm dissatisfied with this episode and, put it or lump it together with, oh, you just want the Tournament of Power. I do want the Tournament of Power to start, but I'm fine with good episodes in between. Again, a la Krillin getting development and things of that nature. But just having 17 and Goku having this minor threat, it was like, I could have done without it. The art was looking gorgeous. Sometimes it was off model. The animation was fluid in certain aspects as well. So I was like, you know, they still try their best to make the 17 scenes at the very least look really good. And I appreciate that as well, especially when it's like, this episode feels like, it really feels like filler. Like, you know how sometimes I throw around filler feeling episodes? This felt straight up like filler. It was like, if 17 would have just agreed at the end of last week's episode, we didn't even need this one. You know what I'm saying? That's really how I felt regarding watching the episode. I mean, there was some funny moments. I think when he showed up at King Kai's planet, I was laughing my ass off, I ain't gonna lie. And then when it was a fake bomb, I was like, one more notch on King Kai. Like, he has to pull out his diary, you know, when he goes and he has his lonely moments and say, Goku did it again. He fucked with my mind again after that whole Cell thing. And yeah, honestly, this episode wasn't all that. It wasn't. It was like, you could skip it. And I don't want to keep on harping on the episode because it's skippable. 17, cool stuff, and I'm glad that he's gonna join. We already knew he was gonna join. We seen the fucking promotional posters, right? You knew 17 was joining, but yeah, it was just like, whatever. Kind of curious what you guys thought about this episode. Did you feel as though it was kind of like pointless? What did you think about the threat? How did you feel about King Kai in the episode? And what did you think about Goku and 17 palling around? I mean, there was a couple of other cool moments. I liked at the end that 17 addressed like his older brother-in-law Krillin, which is kind of cool there, showing that he is aware of Krillin and, you know, he thinks of him as a brother, I guess, you know, brother-in-law, whatever. So that was a neat little thing that they did. And also, you know, I guess addressing the elephant in the room is like, oh, it's going to be weird being teammates after, you know, at one point I was your enemy. And then Goku referencing the Vegeta and Piccolo situations is like, okay, you know, nice little tidbits there, but again, could have done without the episode. And your overall thoughts of how it went down? I mean, poor King Kai. Like, shout out to King Kai. One day Goku will stop fucking with you and stop fucking with your planet. Then again, you're already dead, and maybe he should use the Super Dragon Balls or the Dragon Balls themselves, you know, the regular ones, to bring your ass back. That's the very least he could do, right? Yeah. So, yeah. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And King Kai, don't worry. It'll get better, mate. It'll get better.